On this episode of Georgetown Local-isms, we interview area author Ieshia Tucker about her new book, The Lifelines of a Cheating Man, Secrets Exposed.
This book was written to shed some light on the very things that we as women face on a daily basis. This book is to give you a blueprint on the things that you may have overlooked or the things that you may not want to face right now. This book is not to bash men at all. However, I am about to expose a lot of secrets that some men might not want me to share, but it's necessary. Take this book as a lesson, and I hope that you learn something from it. Some of these examples are personal experiences that I have went through myself, while others are examples that I have heard from others. I have taken upon myself to compile all of them into this book. I advise you to enter with caution. The truth awaits you. I know many of you are wondering, why in the world did Ieshia write this type of book? LOL. Well, it actually started out as a joke. Back in October, one of my best friends came down to visit me from North Carolina. As we were sitting around my kitchen table, the topic came up about how men be lying and cheating. We looked at each other and said, boy, men think they are so slick with they cheating self, LOL. From that very moment, we started to come up with different examples of how men get all caught up in their lies, and it just went from there, LOL. And the rest is history. The Lifelines of a Cheating Man, Secrets Exposed. Early in the morning, before, the sun comes up, because I feel like when you're in that zone, you can focus by yourself. No cars are going by, no birds are chirping. It's just you with your thoughts. No, this was my first one. And it was easy writing. Writing was the easy part because I started it in October and I finished it in May of this year. And it was released on May 25th on Amazon. So I didn't just sit down and compile all of this in one sitting. I would write a little bit, stop, wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and start writing again. So it definitely was easy writing. Publishing was a whole nother story because I did all of that on my own. A friend that I knew wrote a book and they were giving me tips on how to do it. So that was a challenging part, having to size up the book and how that I wanted and submitting the pages and margins, and it was just a whole lot that went into it. But once the final product was made, I was happy with it. It can be anybody who is in a relationship. You could be married, you could be in a partnership, you could be boyfriend, girlfriend. However, it doesn't necessarily focus on one set of people. I mean, the title is The Lifelines of a Cheating Man, but the book can be used vice versa. So it could be for women too. Women could be doing some things in the book that their man is gonna question later, or, thoughts in the back of their head about what they're doing. So it could be used interchangeably. Oh, yes. I've had one person, well, I'm not going to say one, but I have had people to say, I'm crying as I'm reading your book because these are the things that I went through before. One person struggled with reading it initially because they didn't want to rehash what they have already been through. But I let them know that even though the book has those examples, it's a testimony within itself. Because the beginning of the book kind of prepares you and kind of tells you about the things that I've been through a little bit. And in the end, I put in there to tell the person that you're strong, you're beautiful, you can get through this. Now that you know this and you're equipped with what you need to know, now you know how to move forward. So I have had people to not be so happy with it because it brought things to the surface that they didn't see before. I mean, the stories that I wrote when I was younger, or I wrote poems from personal experiences that I was going through as a child. And then, so those were all true stories. My poetry wasn't really fiction. It was just things that I thought of that I just jotted down on paper. And one of me and my friends, we wrote a story together. So she would write a little bit, I would write a little bit. So it was like a back and forth kind of thing. This book is available on Amazon. You can purchase it, or I have copies on hand. You can message me, or I can send you the link. There's also a copy here at the library for you to rent out or come by and read in your spare time. There will be 2 more books after this, one pertaining to a follow-up to this book, and then another book about my mom. So it'll be different things. But I think a lot of people loved book 1, so they're waiting on book 2. So I'll do a follow-up. Yeah, so that's in the works. It makes it personal.
Sure.
It adds character to the book. It lets you know, like, hey, she's just like me. She's a regular person, you know? So I kind of wrote it in that aspect to make it an easy read for my readers, to know, like, I understand you. So I'm gonna read a little more if you don't mind. A relationship is a bond that you share between you and another person. Sparks fly, bonds are formed, and connections are made. You build on those features by going out on dates, hanging out, and just indulging on with the other person. You may have late night talks, listening to music together, and just enjoying each other's company. In many instances, a simple date can turn into a lifetime of happiness. Meanwhile, that happiness can quickly turn to devastation, especially if you find out that if there is infidelity in your relationship. You become heartbroken, you may even cry yourself to sleep, and just be all around angry because the person that you trusted with your heart has now deceived you. No one wants to feel like that, not even me. I can remember the countless nights that I would cry myself almost into a depression because a sad truth was revealed to me. I can remember a time when I found out that my so-called man at the time had been cheating on me for months. Some would say a man will only do what you allow. Well, I disagree with this statement all day. You don't allow a man to cheat on you. A man does what he wants to do, when he wants to do it, and nobody can stop him. You can fuss with him all day long, but if he chooses to cheat, point blank, he will. #superfacts. You will not always see signs, and you may be just that good at sneaking and cheating that he is able to keep things under wraps. You may notice little things, however, you won't get the full picture unless you have concrete evidence that will pin him to the accusations. When the accusations from me turned out to be my newfound reality, the news made me feel unworthy, unloved, underappreciated, unvalued, and degraded. I would often ask myself, how could he do this to me? Why did he do this to me? Why me? It was a crushing feeling that would leave me in a slumber for days. My friends would always ask me what's wrong, and I would sometimes lie and say nothing. Or I would go into an hour-long I hate men rant. What I went through was not a waste at all. It was all worth it in the end, because now I get to share my experiences with the world.